Hello everyone. Thanks a lot for taking interest in our research. I am Vidit Jain and I will be presenting our work titled Exploring Semi-Supervised Learning for Predicting Listener Backchannels. Firstly, I would like to briefly describe what listener backchannels are and then move on to why they are important. Basically, a listener backchannel is a frequent and short response provided to the speaker in a conversation which signals that the listener is paying attention to what the speaker is saying. Such responses are quite important for sustaining a conversation. Some common examples of backchannels are head nods, head shakes, short utterances like right, etc., or a combination of both. As we all know, personal robots and interactive AI systems are increasingly becoming a part of our lives. Social robots that we have currently have shown immense potential in sectors like education or healthcare, where they can serve as personalized learning and social companions. One important requirement for such robots is that they must be good active listeners. That is why we focus upon modeling listener backchannels. So, while going through the previous literature on backchannel prediction, we found a few gaps. Prior works rely upon a large amount of annotated data to train backchanneling models. We felt that this was a huge bottleneck as annotating large datasets for backchanneling would require a lot of time and effort. Secondly, most works focus on the task of backchannel opportunity prediction. That is, when should the backchannel occur? But to design active listeners that mimic human behavior, we require that the backchannels be expressed as closely resembling to human behavior as possible. Thirdly, we found that all previous works focused on only English conversations. So, through this research, we explored the efficacy of using semi-supervised learning techniques to automate annotations for such tasks by comparing them against conventional supervised learning approaches. Semi-supervised learning techniques are advantageous as they require only a small fraction of the data to train and they are able to generalize really well, thus saving human time and effort. Secondly, we proposed techniques to predict the modality for backchanneling. We call this task as the backchannel signal prediction. And lastly, we use Hindi conversations, unlike previous works. For this paper, we use the Vyaktitva dataset, which is a multimodal Hindi conversation dataset. The dataset contains 25 Hindi dyadic conversations. 3 annotators manually annotated the dataset for the presence and the signals used for backchanneling. We chose to annotate nods, head shakes, mouth, that is, whether the person is smiling or not, eyebrow movements, and short utterances for backchannel signals. We extracted several visual and acoustic features from the conversations to train our models. For task formulation, we divide our approach into two categories, identification and prediction. The identification task encompasses identifying backchanneling instances and the corresponding signals. This task included the manual annotation of datasets to get ground truth labels and training semi-supervised models to learn to identify and annotate backchannels in the data. We refer to these generated labels as pseudo-labels. The prediction task involved using deep learning models to predict when should a listener backchannel given the speaker's video and audio. Also, if a backchannel was predicted, then we predict what modality should be used to express that backchannel. The prediction task was performed on both the manually annotated and the semi-supervision annotated labels. Some of the key findings from our research were the semi-supervised models were able to identify backchanneling instances and the signal types very well. We achieved high accuracies given that we only used 25% of the ground truth data as seed to train the semi-supervised learning models. The key highlight of our study was that the opportunity and signal prediction models trained on the pseudo labels achieved close to 94% of the performance achieved by the models trained on manually annotated data. To further strengthen our results, we conducted a blind user study where participants were asked to rate a conversational agent trained on manually annotated data and another agent trained on semi-supervision annotated data.
20 out of 27
participants of our study found that our proposed system to be more or equally natural to the one trained on manually annotated data. Now I would like to present a short demo of our system.
यूएस एकदम ही मतलब यूएस का जो टेरेन है वो बहुत डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ था। यदि कॉन्टिनेंट तो अलग ही है लेकिन मतलब अभी हमारे इसमें कैसे इन इंडिया में भी तो बहुत डिफरेंट है, लेकिन डेजर्ट भी मिलता है और ग्रीनलैंड में मिलता है, लेकिन इवन यूएस में भी बहुत डिफरेंट टाइप के एरियाज है। मतलब अलास्का में तो पूरा ग्लेशियर वो सब मिलता है, फिर नेवाडा और हाँ वो सब काइंड ऑफ डेजर्ट टाइप का है, फिर कोई इसमें तो पूरे ऐसे वेटलैंड टाइप के
अच्छा।
पूरे रेन फॉरेस्ट है वॉशिंगटन और वो सब में। तो मेरे अंकल वहां पर रहते थे, तो वो लोग गए थे वो अलास्का में, तो उन लोगों ने फोटो दिखाया था, तो वो ग्लेशियर के बहुत सुंदर फोटोज थे एकदम ऐसे, एकदम उन लोग का जो नीला कलर रहता है वो ग्लेशियर का कुछ अलग ही रहता है।
Thank you for your time. I'll be happy to take up any questions now.